Back to another episode. So much happened so fast. I'm gonna try and recap on robotics, AI, tech news, a bunch of stuff, large language models, research, science, everything under the sun that I find to be fascinating. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. I mentioned last week safety has been a huge topic, and we actually got confirmation from the head of AI, or head of OpenAI, I should say, Sam Altman. We are happy to have reached an agreement with the U.S. AI Safety Institute for pre-release testing of our future models, which is great because that means one, there's going to be future models, and they're going to be much better. This is the dumbest AI is ever going to be, and it's really good. And it looks like safety is going to be at the forefront of these discussions, which is incredibly important. Let's, bear that in mind. Safety is a huge factor, and the US government is now making sure that unsafe models are not going to be deployed to a population that maybe has, people with mental disorders that, may want to use it for nefarious reasons. So, given that, I'm going to show you some advancements that typically would, give cause a lot of pause for concern, but in this case, I think we can just, be excited by them. And so let's start with Cursor AI, the golden age for builders. People who leverage AI can now build things that were unimaginable 2 years ago. What used to take a team of 5 experts and $1 million plus and a ton of time can now be built by a solo developer using Cursor in a few days. The age of super builders has begun. I've been using Cursor. It's amazing. It builds out entire code bases, and you talk to it in natural conversation, as if you're talking to a developer who you want them to build something. Oh, I don't really like this. Oh, this looks good here. Can it do this? I want it to be able to do this. And the more specific you get, the better the code gets. So I actually want to add another tool to this now, what seems to be developing an AI tech stack, apparently, I think. Replit. They have an agent, and I'll be including them in my video next week, but Replit's agent is really good as well at coding, but where it really excels is deploying code on the internet. So when you build an app with potentially Cursor AI in conjunction with Vercel VO, which is really good at front end and making it look nice and sharp, really clicky, you deploy it with Replit, and now you sort of have almost like a full AI stack. So no longer software development stack, but more of an AI stack. And I would definitely include those three right now: Cursor AI, Replit agent, and what was the thing I said? Cursor, Replit, and Vercel VO. Really good. But yeah, I've started building stuff. I'm gonna start releasing products. The way I see it is, if you add a Stripe page to a solution that's worth, $8 a month to a person who's, it solves their problem, you should include it in a product. So yeah, I'm gonna start putting out products. I think it's a great idea, and you can scale. Who doesn't want to do that? But let's keep going. This right here, the advertising industry is about to go through a watershed moment. I mean, everything from modeling to influencer work, all of it, it's going to at least give a lot of people pause, something to think about. This guy says, I don't think people are ready for the complete revolution of the advertising and model industry that is about to come. This is a model trained on Birkenstock shoes with EverArt AI and Flux. I mentioned Flux in my last video. Using only pictures of the object. So they didn't even use a picture of a model to generate these models and these images. So here's the picture of the object, right? Birkenstock. Great. They fed it into this AI, and they received photos that literally look like lookbook photos for Birkenstocks. And these are really good. Like, even the buttons make sense. Her right thumb here maybe looks a little funny, but when I look at it, it's really hard to tell. Like, look, even the arm hair is backlit on this AI generation. And the muscles look right. Like, everything just looks proportional correct. And there's your Birkenstock. I mean, that's your advertisement. So I really think we're kind of on the verge of something pretty extraordinary. But let's keep it going. There's a lot to get through. Neo, I don't know if you saw this video, but robot doing dishes. Neo, I think, no, that's, yeah. This one is not being remotely controlled, I don't think. I think that's a battery power source because it looks like it's probably not very efficient with power. I could be wrong. I'm open to being corrected, so please correct me. But putting away the dishes, I mean, who doesn't want something else to do that, right? No one likes that job. And then they had another video that I thought was really interesting. So it's standing here, it's pointing, it's gesturing. So this is nonverbal communication happening right now, which I think is deeply fascinating. Anyone you speak to, you recognize like hand gestures, movements, pointing. Nonverbal communication, they say, is 80% of our communication. And look at this guy. He's waving at a camera where a human being is on the other side looking at it. I don't know if it was just a command to look at that certain direction and wave, or if the command was look at the camera lens and wave at it. But either way, nonverbal communication and spatial awareness might be a really fascinating paradigm cross because, a robot being able to communicate with me without saying a word is that telepathic? I don't know. It's really interesting. Let's keep it going. This right here I thought was amazing. I mean, when I first saw this, I thought it was real. I thought it was a real video. I was like, what is this? And then it's not. These are AI generated girls. You could start to see it after a couple of views where you see the mouth kind of forms weirdly and like the hand is almost right, like, which is generally the hardest part. But the hair moves, like, I don't know. It's getting pretty close. It's starting to cross that threshold for me. This was awesome. I think my friends who work in corporate are going to be obsessed with this. And I think KlingAi, their AI technology for Zoom went viral, 400K views in about 8 hours. I'm surprised it wasn't more. It's probably a lot more now, but...
It's an AI-generated live stream that moves in sync with my voice. Pickle generates real-time video of talking you based on your audio inputs, which can be streamed directly to Zoom.
Yeah, so he is not here. This is the AI-generated video. It looks as if he's sitting at his desk.
You can see I'm currently participating in a Zoom call. But what if I tell you that I'm actually not in front of the camera right now?
And he's over here actually doing the audio mic. And I don't see it being too far-fetched to have a large language model just do the talking for him and then, mirror that speech. Anyways, I don't know how real this is because it seems a little too cutting edge because the mouth and the movement looks really good. I don't know. That's the point we're at now. I don't know. And I'd be really curious if someone debunks this, but so far it has not been debunked, and it's been 2 weeks. I waited because I wanted to see, is this thing actually real before I actually present it? And so far, no one's really said it's not real. So let's keep going. This AI video,
so you could try really adjust V2, and here's my second prompt: an astronaut riding a unicorn in the desert. And then let's click generate. All right, and here's what I got for Mninimax. You can see it follows the prompt very well. This is indeed an astronaut riding a unicorn. The horse and the astronaut are really realistic. This looks much more realistic.
Yeah, this one for me is way more compelling. I mean, it looks real to me. I can't find many things that are clear about it that are not real. This is using KlingAi. This guy, AI search on YouTube, he has a lot of subscribers, but he was comparing two different AI video generation softwares, Mninimax, which followed the prompt really well, but wasn't very realistic, doesn't look good. But then this one, it didn't follow the prompt very well, but look how realistic. Like the horse's muscles, you can see it. That's unbelievable. We're starting to cross over the threshold, you guys. And this guy, if you don't know, he's Anthropic CEO. Anthropic is one of the leading large language models in the world, competing with OpenAI. Some might say they're doing even better. But he says that if the scaling hypothesis turns out to be true, scaling hypothesis meaning the greater the intelligence you add, or I'm sorry, the greater compute you add, the greater the intelligence will grow. So far, we haven't found the limit to that rule yet. And we're already crossing the threshold beyond human intelligence. And I'll let him talk about it, but yeah.
Let's consider the branch where kind of the scaling hypothesis is true in some very strong form. And then let's consider the version where it, might be somewhat true or not true at all. In the version where it's true in some very strong form, I've probably laid this out elsewhere in public, but this is the version where, you train a billion, you've trained a $100 million model now, and it's about as good as like, a good college freshman or something, and you train a billion, it's as good as an advanced undergrad. You train a $10 billion model, and it's as good as, like a top graduate student. And then when you get to your $100 billion model, it's as good as a Nobel Prize winner. And then you just take that model and you put it to work for basically everyone, right? It becomes your coworker.
Yeah. So having a model as smart as a Nobel Prize winner in whatever field it is that you need help with, be it finance, mathematics, biology, chemistry, physics, anything you name it, human psychology, a Nobel Prize winning intelligence in your arsenal. Come on, who's not going to want that? I mean, yeah, let's keep it moving. I thought this was really interesting. A scientific approach to entrepreneurial decision-making, large-scale replication and extension. It's a research paper that basically goes through the decision-making of an entrepreneur and what's the optimal path in terms of searching for valuable ideas, strategic shifts, those who adopted a scientific approach, they evaluated a lot of firms. I just thought this was really interesting. I manage and do strategic decision making for multiple businesses, so for me this was fascinating. And I think we're coming into a world where most people will have their own business, especially when you have programs that can build for you. So why wouldn't you have your own business? You should. And this was amazing. Anyone who's ever played Doom, this is an old school game. What you may not be aware of is that this is not pre-rendered, right? This is a game that is being simulated and generated live. So they're recording, but every frame that comes next is being generated by a large language model. It's not like this is a program and then you play the game like we play on our video games normally. No. This game is being generated frame by frame. And this is a paradigm shift in gaming, meaning for video gamers who I like playing video games when I have time, this is going to open a world where you have video game generation and you generate the exact kind of game you want to play. Like if you want to play a game where you're an astronaut on a horse, like that video, that game will generate for you. And that's the future we're looking at. And I think this is a good place to stop. I'll catch up with you next week. Thank you for joining me. I hope it was interesting. I hope it was fascinating. There's so much happening. And I'm going to have to release more videos soon just to catch up because I'm already behind. Thank you for joining me and take care.